You didn't arrive here by mistake. You didn't stumble onto these words by chance. Something in you, perhaps silent, perhaps restless, led you to this moment. Maybe it's because you've always felt different. Maybe it's because you sense emotions more deeply than those around you. Maybe it's because you carry an invisible weight, a sensitivity that others don't understand, and yet you cannot escape. If that resonates with you, you are not alone. And Carl Jung would say this is no accident. Jung believed that within each of us there is a hidden spark, something rare, something luminous, something that cannot be taught or forced. For some, this spark shines as what he called the process of individuation, becoming whole, becoming authentic, becoming who you truly are. But for a very few, this spark takes on an even deeper quality, a kind of glow that radiates not only inward but outward. This glow belongs to those rare individuals we now call empaths. An empath is not simply someone who feels sympathy. Sympathy is shallow, surface level. An empath feels more than emotion. They absorb it, they live it, they embody it. They can sense the hidden pain in a smile, the despair behind silence, the fear that trembles beneath bravado. For most people, such sensitivity would feel like a curse. For true empaths, it often does. And yet, Jung saw in this sensitivity not weakness, but power. He believed that those who carry this rare spiritual glow are mirrors of humanity's unconscious. They reflect what others hide. They reveal what others repress. They carry truths others cannot face. But let's pause here and ask the most important question. If this glow is so rare, so powerful, why do empaths often feel broken? Why do they feel isolated, misunderstood, drained by the world around them? The answer lies in the paradox of the empath, because to carry this glow is to walk between worlds, the visible and the invisible, the conscious and the unconscious, the personal and the collective. Jung himself warned that those who are deeply sensitive to the unconscious are often at risk of being overwhelmed by it. They are pulled between their inner truth and the chaos of the world. Think of your own life. Have you noticed how often people are drawn to you in times of crisis? How friends confide their secrets in you? How strangers seem to sense they can trust you? Have you noticed how you can walk into a room and feel its atmosphere instantly, even before a word is spoken? Have you noticed how you sometimes carry emotions that are not your own, as if you were a vessel for collective pain? These are not coincidences. They are signs of the rare glow Jung described. A glow that makes you both healer and target, because here lies the danger. The world does not always value sensitivity. In fact, it often punishes it. Empaths are taken advantage of, manipulated, drained. They are told they are too sensitive, too emotional, too weak. But Jung argued the opposite, that sensitivity is strength, that feeling deeply is a sign of awareness, that carrying the weight of others reveals the depths of one's own soul. To reject this part of yourself is to reject your light. And yet, many empaths do just that. They hide, they numb themselves, they wear masks to survive. And the glow, instead of shining, flickers in darkness. Jung believed that the greatest tragedy of modern life is the loss of authenticity. Most people live as masks, what he called the persona, the version of ourselves we show the world, polite, acceptable, safe. But beneath the persona lies the shadow, the unconscious, the raw truth of who we are. For empaths, the shadow is not only personal, it is collective. They feel the repressed fears of others, the unspoken wounds of humanity. This is why their glow is so rare, because it is born not only of self-awareness, but of carrying the invisible weight of many. But how do you live with this? How do you carry such sensitivity without being destroyed by it? Jung's answer was individuation, the process of becoming whole. For an empath, individuation means learning to balance sensitivity with strength, openness with boundaries, compassion with self-protection. It means learning that your glow is not meant to save everyone, but to reveal truth, to illuminate paths, to live authentically. The path is not easy. It demands self-honesty. It demands solitude. It demands the courage to face not only your own shadow, but the shadows of others. Yet this is the privilege of the empath, to transform suffering into wisdom, to transform pain into compassion, to transform sensitivity into power. Ask yourself, do you see this glow in you? Do you feel its weight? Because if you do, Jung would say it is time to stop denying it, to stop treating it as a curse, to begin embracing it as your rare gift. Because in a world addicted to noise, your sensitivity is silence. In a world drunk on appearances, your empathy is truth. In a world fractured by division, your glow is unity. This is only the beginning. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will explore why true empaths often feel broken, why their glow attracts both light and darkness, and how Jung believed this rare sensitivity connects to the collective unconscious of humanity. Because once you understand this, you will see that your gift is not only personal, it is universal. You didn't click here by accident. You clicked because your unconscious is ready to remember who you truly are. Why does sensitivity feel like suffering? Why does empathy, which should be a gift, often feel like a wound? Carl Jung would say it is because every gift carries its shadow, and for empaths, that shadow is heavy. To feel what others cannot feel is to carry what others refuse to carry, and what people refuse becomes toxic. It becomes weight, it becomes a shadow. Jung defined the shadow as the hidden part of the self, the fears, desires, and wounds we repress because they do not fit the image we want the world to see. For ordinary people, the shadow is personal, but for empaths, it is amplified. Empaths don't just sense their own shadow, they absorb the shadows of others. They walk into a room and feel the unspoken tension, the anger behind the smile, the despair behind laughter. This is why they feel drained. This is why they feel heavy. They are not just carrying themselves, they are carrying the collective. Think of your own experiences. How many times have you walked away from a conversation feeling exhausted, even though you barely spoke? How many times have you left a gathering only to realize you feel emotions that are not even yours? This is not weakness. This is resonance. Jung believed the unconscious is not only individual, but collective. All humanity shares an invisible web of energy and emotion. Empaths are tuned into this web. They feel what most ignore. They sense what most deny. And yet this sensitivity comes at a cost, because when you feel too much, you can drown in it. Jung warned that being too close to the unconscious without boundaries is dangerous. People who open themselves too much risk being consumed. The empath's glow is beautiful, but it can attract darkness as much as light. People are drawn to empaths because they feel seen, understood, safe. But they also unconsciously project their shadows onto them. They use empaths as vessels, as containers for what they cannot handle themselves. That is why you may feel like a magnet for broken people. That is why others seek you in their darkest moments but vanish when they are healed. That is why you often feel used. It is not in your imagination. It is the unconscious at work. And unless you learn to protect your glow, you will burn out under the weight of shadows that are not yours. Jung insisted that individuation, the path to wholeness, requires confronting the shadow, not denying it. But for empaths, individuation requires an extra step, learning to discern which shadows are theirs and which belong to others. This is not easy, because when you feel someone's pain, it feels like your own. But you must learn to ask, is this mine or is this theirs? Without this question, you will live in confusion. With it, you begin to free yourself. Another reason empaths feel drained is that they resist their own shadow. Jung taught that whatever you repress does not disappear. It waits. It waits in silence until it bursts forth, often destructively. Many empaths try to be good, always caring, always kind, always available. But in doing so, they repress their anger, their frustration, their darker emotions. And so their shadow grows, the glow dims, because light is not born from denial. It is born from integration. True empaths shine not because they reject darkness, but because they face it and carry it with honesty. This is why Jung admired those who could look inward with courage. He knew that most people avoid themselves. They prefer distraction. They avoid silence. They run from pain. But empaths, when they embrace their gift, do not run. They sit with it. They allow the unconscious to speak. They face what is hidden, and in doing so, they become healers. Not because they save others, but because they embody wholeness. Still, this path is lonely. Jung often warned that individuation is not for everyone. It requires breaking away from the crowd. It requires walking into solitude. Empaths feel loneliness deeply, but Jung would argue that solitude is their medicine. Only in solitude can they separate their voice from the voices of others. Only in solitude can they discover where their glow truly comes from. Imagine standing in a forest at night. The world is dark, silent, heavy, yet above, the stars shine. They do not need an audience. They do not need applause. They shine because it is their nature. Jung believed true empaths are like stars. They glow not because others demand it, but because it is who they are. But like stars, they must stand in the darkness to be seen. They must accept that not everyone will understand them. They must embrace the loneliness that comes with authenticity. This is the paradox. Your glow is rare, but it will not always be welcomed. Some will be threatened by it. Some will try to dim it. Some will use it for themselves. But you must remember, your glow is not for everyone. It is for those who are ready to see it. It is for you, first and foremost. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." For empaths, this means, until you recognize your own shadow, you will confuse it with the pain of others. Until you set boundaries, you will drown in the collective. Until you honor your glow, you will live as if it is a curse. But the moment you begin to see clearly, the moment you claim your gift, the moment you stand firm in solitude, your glow becomes not a burden, but a beacon. In the next part, we will go deeper still. We will explore the mechanics of repression, the hidden desires that shape our lives, and why Jung believed that empaths are essential to the healing of the collective unconscious. Because the glow you carry is not only for you, it is for the world. Why do people hide their truth? Why do they bury their pain, silence their desires, deny their wounds? Jung's answer was simple: because truth hurts. The unconscious holds everything we cannot face, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the longing. And so we repress it, we push it down, we pretend it doesn't exist. But repression is not erasure. What is repressed does not vanish. It waits in silence. It shapes our choices. It manipulates our lives. And this is where empaths come in. Empaths are the mirrors of repression. They reflect back what others try to hide. This is why people are drawn to them. It is also why people sometimes fear them. Because to be around a true empath is to feel naked, exposed. The mask no longer works. The lies dissolve. The shadow surfaces. Jung knew that projection is the mechanism by which people unload their unconscious onto others. What they cannot face in themselves, they project onto those around them. And empaths, because of their glow, their openness, their depth, become the easiest targets. Think about how often you have been blamed for emotions you didn't create. Think about how many times someone accused you of being too much when all you did was reflect their own insecurity. Think about the anger people throw at you, anger that belongs not to you but to them. This is projection. And because you feel it so deeply, because you sense it so fully, you begin to carry it as if it were yours. That is why you feel heavy. That is why you feel confused. You are carrying the repressed desires of others. But here is the paradox. Though this hurts, it is also sacred. Because by carrying what others cannot face, you reveal it. You bring it into awareness. You embody the very process Jung described as making the unconscious conscious. You are living proof of his psychology. You are the bridge between repression and revelation. Still, let us not romanticize it too quickly. The cost is real. Empaths are often exhausted. They feel like sponges, soaking up the emotions of everyone around them. They retreat, isolate, withdraw, because the world feels too much. Jung would say this is the danger of unconscious identification. If you do not separate what is yours from what is not, you will drown in collective pain. You will lose yourself in the shadow of others. That is why individuation is crucial. It is the only way to shine without being extinguished. Repression also explains why empaths are misunderstood. Most people do not want their unconscious exposed. They prefer to live in denial. So when an empath's glow reveals the hidden, they resist. They attack. They dismiss. They call sensitivity weakness because they are afraid of what sensitivity reveals. But Jung knew that truth cannot be buried forever. The unconscious always finds a way out, through dreams, through slips of the tongue, through illness, through breakdowns, and through empaths. Empaths become the carriers of collective truth, willingly or unwillingly. This is why Jung's work resonates so strongly with those who feel deeply, because he gave language to what they live every day. He explained why sensitivity feels like both a blessing and a curse. He explained why the world resists those who glow. He explained why the unconscious is not just personal, but collective, and why empaths often feel like they are carrying more than their own lives. To understand this more fully, imagine the collective unconscious as an ocean. Every human is a drop in it. Most people live unaware of the ocean. They think they are only their drop. But empaths, they feel the tides, they sense the waves, they absorb the currents. They cannot deny the ocean because it crashes within them. That is why they know things without explanation. That is why they feel moods shift before words are spoken. That is why they sometimes feel exhausted for no reason at all. They are swimming in the collective unconscious. Jung believed that within this ocean are archetypes, universal patterns of human experience. The mother, the hero, the shadow, the wise old man. Empaths, more than most, resonate with these archetypes. They sense the hidden stories beneath daily life. They feel the drama of the unconscious unfolding around them. They may even dream archetypal dreams that reveal truths far beyond their personal lives. This is the depth of their glow. It is not only personal, it is mythic, it is collective. But again, without boundaries, this becomes unbearable. To embody the collective is to risk losing yourself. Jung often emphasized that the self, the true, individuated self, must be the anchor. Otherwise, you are tossed by the waves. For empaths, this means learning to ground themselves, to create space, to practice rituals that separate them from the endless tide. Without this, their gift becomes poison. With it, their gift becomes healing. And make no mistake, the world needs this healing. Jung believed modern humanity is sick because it has lost its connection to the unconscious. We live in denial, in distraction, in endless noise. We avoid silence because silence reveals the truth, but empaths cannot avoid it. They carry the silence within them. They feel the truth whether they want to or not. And so they become reminders to the world of what it has forgotten. that healing begins not with avoidance, but with awareness. This is why, despite the pain, despite the isolation, despite the exhaustion, the glow of the empath is sacred. It is not a glow of perfection. It is not a glow of purity. It is a glow of honesty. A glow that comes from carrying the shadow and still choosing compassion. A glow that comes from seeing the worst in humanity and still choosing to love. A glow that comes from facing the unconscious and not turning away. But you must understand this. Your glow will never be understood by everyone. Jung himself admitted that those who walk the path of individuation will often be misunderstood, even rejected. You will not fit into the crowd. You will not be comfortable in shallow places. You will feel out of place in a world built on masks. And yet, this is your strength, because you are not here to conform. You are here to transform. Empaths embody the very tension Jung described between the individual and the collective. They live as both. They feel both. They suffer both. And in their suffering, they reveal the truth that no one escapes the unconscious, that no mask lasts forever, that the shadow will always surface. Empaths are reminders, carriers, witnesses, and when they embrace this, when they claim their glow, they become healers, not in the sense of fixing others, but in the sense of embodying wholeness. In the next part, we will reach the climax of this journey. We will explore how embracing your glow transforms not only your life, but the lives around you. We will look at the practical steps Jung would advise to protect your gift, to strengthen your boundaries, and to shine without being consumed. Because your glow is rare, and the world desperately needs it to survive. What happens when you stop running from your glow? What happens when you stop treating sensitivity as weakness and begin to claim it as strength? Jung believed that this is the turning point of individuation, the moment when the unconscious is no longer an enemy, but an ally. The moment when the empath stops drowning and begins to rise. The moment when the rare glow is no longer a burden, but a beacon. Let us be clear, this transformation is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming who you already are. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." For empaths, this means embracing the truth that you feel deeply, that you carry shadows, that you sense more than others. It means no longer apologizing for it, no longer hiding it, no longer allowing others to convince you that it is wrong. The first step in this transformation is boundaries. Without boundaries, empaths are consumed. With boundaries, they are liberated. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They do not block compassion, they protect it. They allow you to give without being drained, to listen without absorbing, to care without losing yourself. Jung would say that boundaries are the conscious self guarding the unconscious from overwhelming you. They are not selfish, they are essential. The second step is integration. Empaths often repress their own darker emotions because they want to remain good. They fear anger, resentment, envy. But Jung warned that repression only makes the shadow stronger. Integration means acknowledging these emotions, giving them space, and transforming them. An empath who integrates their shadow becomes unstoppable because they are no longer afraid of their darkness. They know that true compassion is not the absence of anger, but the ability to channel it into justice. Not the absence of pain, but the ability to turn it into wisdom. Not the denial of shadow, but its transformation into light. The third step is solitude. Jung often said that individuation requires withdrawing from the crowd. For empaths, solitude is medicine. It is in silence that they reconnect with their own soul. It is in solitude that they separate what belongs to them from what belongs to others. It is in solitude that their glow is renewed. Do not fear solitude. Embrace it. It is the soil where your rare glow grows. And finally, the fourth step is purpose. Empaths are not here by accident. Their sensitivity is not random. Their glow is not meaningless. Jung believed that each person has a destiny, a calling from the unconscious to become whole. For empaths, that calling is to embody truth in a world addicted to lies, to embody compassion in a world addicted to selfishness, to embody depth in a world addicted to shallowness. Your glow is needed, not to save everyone, not to fix the world, but to remind humanity of what it has forgotten, that we are more than masks, more than personas, more than the noise of survival. We are souls, and some souls carry light. Imagine for a moment a world without empaths, a world without those who sense the unspoken, who carry the unseen, who glow in silence. It would be a world of masks, of noise, of emptiness. But because you exist, because you carry this rare gift, there is hope. Your very being is resistance against a culture that denies depth. Your presence is proof that sensitivity is not extinction, but evolution. This is why Jung's teachings remain so powerful. He gave language to what empaths live. He showed that the unconscious is not an enemy, but a source of life. He revealed that individuation is not luxury, but necessity. And he reminded us that those who carry rare gifts often suffer most, but also heal most. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are rare. You are luminous. You are necessary. The glow you carry may not always be seen, but it is always felt. And the more you embrace it, the more it will transform not only your life, but the lives around you. So ask yourself now, are you ready to claim it? Are you ready to stop apologizing for your sensitivity? Are you ready to stop letting others drain your light? Are you ready to embrace your glow as your greatest strength? If you are, then write it below. Proclaim it. Choose awareness. Choose authenticity. Choose to become who you truly are. Because the world does not need more masks. The world needs your glow.